Is it possible that you feel already now something?
Quite possible. It's unusual to feel something so quickly, but you know, anything is possible.
The feeling of you know, when you put how do you say that?
It's for the curtain, yeah.
Suikerpuntje in een glas cola. Dus je begint het toch zo te bruisen. Met zo'n gevoel. Ja. Nou, het eerste wat ik voelde was alsof er iets openknapt in mijn maag. En alsof die smaak naar boven komt.
Oh, bitter.
Ja, de bittere smaak.
Ja, hij is niet echt goed door.
Ja, nou ja, oké. We moeten die interviews maar laten zien.
Ja, ik vind het best. Ik wil het ook wel doen, maar daar niet van. Ik wil het niet doen. Maar ik dacht dat het nu ingepland werd. Maar je wou het dus helemaal moeten voeren.
Dat zei hij gisteravond.
Ja.
You want to listen in?
No, that's all right. So you can speak in Dutch, you know.
I don't see a red light.
Well, you know, that's because it's a modern technological miracle. They dispense with the red light.
Don't like that.
So you were telling us something about the formation of the Junkiebond in Rotterdam in 1980, and you had showed me some stuff before that was really remarkable. Some of the first AIDS literature, really, the first AIDS prevention literature was produced by your group.
Well, the situation in 1979 was, we started in 1980. In 1979, the mayors of the four big cities in Holland.
Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Den Haag, Utrecht.
Ja, ik dacht even dat je Rotterdam vergat. They had a plan to start up forced therapy for addicts, and especially, you know, first they are talking about the whole group that has to do forced withdrawal, but then that's not acceptable, and so then they start to talk about, you know, the little kids that are on, and so you have to lock in the little kids, so 14, 15 years old, and we were opposed to that plan, and I talked it over a couple of friends of mine who were using already in the scene and so on, and we thought this was, you know, how do you say that? Just one step too much, you know, to put people into forced therapy. And so we thought we have to organize something, and I had already some experience in, we had a union here and it's still active for all sorts of people who are living in, how do you say that? Kinderthuizen, children's homes.
Children's homes, institutions.
Institutions, right? To organize them, I guess, for higher pocket money, and so they could go home in the weekends and that they don't have to go to bed early as a punishment, or you know, all that sort of thing. And from that I had some experience with how you build up an organization. The only thing you need really is a typewriter and a telephone and paper, and well, then you can start, right? And so we decided to write a pamphlet in which we would attack this idea of these mayors for forced therapy, and lots of others of critiques on the drug policy. Like we were demanding a human life for addicts, we were demanding low threshold methadone programs, no harassment by the police, no razzia by the police, control on dope in the streets, so, you know, to look in a lab at the quality, at the cuts, etc., and to give that information back into the streets again. We did that too, you know, if a dealer sold bad dope, and then people will come to the Junkiebond and say, hey, this guy is selling sand or what happened. Then we would never call up the police or something like that, but we go there, you know, ourselves and say, hey, you're selling this and this and this, you have to stop that immediately. If you're not doing it, then we call the police. Or, if he's lucky, we call the police. And, all of them always stopped them selling, of course.
So your role was had many levels. You functioned on a social, on an economic, on a political level, as well as acting as an advocacy group for addicts. And to some degree made sure that there was quality control, which is...
to some degree.
Yeah. You made some tremendous advances in getting the government to respond to you. I'm sure it took some time and sanction this organization, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. How long did that take to do before you were actually meeting with ministers from the health department, or you'd mentioned yesterday about you were first mentioned in Parliament, and then Parliament passed certain legislation. Maybe you could tell us a motion. Maybe you could tell us something about that motion.
Yeah, first I'd like to finish the other story.
Yeah.
I was with the pamphlet. And so in the pamphlet we invited also the people to come to a meeting to talk about this idea of having a union or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we made, I think, 1,000 copies at an organization that, we knew. And then we went into the scene with these papers, and we would spread them around as other addicts to take them with them and to distribute them among their friends. And the first, or on the meeting, there were about 50 to 60 people. Most of them were addicts. And there we said, okay, we're going to do something about ourselves, about the drug policy, and etc., etc. And in that first meeting, then we right away made a telegram to the city council and to the mayor, in which we not were asking, but we had a demand of seeing him on short notice, because there was always, everybody's talking about addicts and this and that, but nobody's talking with addicts, and we see addicts as normal human beings, and so you should treat them as normal human beings, and so on. So the first talk with what is een wethouder? Een alderman of een senator?
Yeah. Alderman.
So who did we see first? The mayor or the alderman? I don't know. Was Van der Lauw toen nog?
Dat is de mayor.
Ja, daarom. Maar ik weet nou niet meer eventjes of we nou eerst de burgemeester hebben gezien of eerst de wethouder, of eerst allebei. But anyhow,
it was on a governmental level.
Yeah, on city government level. So that evening too, we formulated, how do you say that, een actiepakket, a sort of Bill of Rights. Right? We had connections with, in Amsterdam with the squat movement, right? And the squat movement was very well informed about house owners and all sorts of people that made money in Amsterdam would put their money into housing, right?
Investors.
Yeah, investors, but also, dealers who made nice money, and they wanted to get out of the business and into the real estate business. And through these squatted or these people, we had information on that, and then we had a combined action, because they had found out that a few Amsterdam, tough guys, criminals from the Amsterdam criminal world, had made a lot of money, and they now had a business with the Slavenbeursbank, who would help them with, how to launder, how do you say that?
Launder money? Yeah.
To launder money, to wash it twice, right? And so this was something for us and something for the squat movement, and housing on the one side, the speculation, and the money is coming from, addicts in the street. And so we went to the bank in Amsterdam. We had on the copier, black and white copier, we had copied money, so you get black and white money, black money. And we had little bags with, met paper and zout. Of that was, it wasn't pepper, it was a candy really, stolboost. And so it looked like bags of heroin and bags of cocaine. And so we went with a demonstration. I think there were about 100 or 200 addicts with it. We went to the bank and we were throwing around the money and throwing around the bags, Yeah, it was great.
That's real yippie stuff, eh?
Yeah, it was fun. And the funny thing is that about a week later, there is really a big police raid here on the head building of the Slavenbergsbank.
Mm-hmm.
And so not every, but a lot of addicts here in the street, that's something like, you see, our actions have result.
We go on.
But, they took out all the paperwork, and then they found out that the bank had double accounts and, laundering money and this.
Yeah, very smooth story it was.
But the guys, not one of them is really convicted, not one of them seen a day of jail. Die oude slavenbeugel, godverdomme. Ik geloof iets van 8 jaar nadat die zaak was voorgekomen, heb die vrijspraak gekregen of zo.
Ja, het schadevergoeding toch?
Oh, de schadevergoeding zelf. Ja, precies. Ja. Ja, daar kan ik je een hoop over vertellen, over dat soort van acties of zo. Die zijn er al een heleboel gebeurd. Hey, ik zit te trippen, joh.
Ja, is het al begonnen?
Nee. Ja. Is dat zo lange tijd voor? Trouwens,
ja, voor mij.
Huh?
Voor mij. Ik heb het trouwens niet eens zoveel gedaan. Ik denk dat ik misschien 5 keer getript.
So what happened with the famous motion before Parliament?
What happened with the famous motion for Parliament? Well, so there was Junkiebond in Rotterdam after this meeting, and it got a lot of publicity. We organized a press conference. Every newspaper would write about it. We got then contacts with people in other cities who wanted to do a thing like that. And a certain period of time there were about 25 of these organizations in Holland. Later on there were also a few in Germany, in Berlin and Frankfurt, and in Kassel. And so you have an organization, and then what do you have to do? You have to talk to people. You have to talk with the alderman and his board. You have to talk to the police and blah blah. But first, of course, you have to get in, and that we did by putting up a lot of pressure in the press or with actions. And there was also a group of people that we have organized ourselves. So addicts organized non-addicts to support addicts, and not non-addicts organizing addicts. Right?
Yeah.
Addicts organizing non-addicts to support addicts. Right. And that was called Brede Front. The broad front. The Brede Front for the renewal of drug policy. That's the official name. And in there were people from church, from university, politicians, journalists, organization of the parents of users, etc., etc. So, and that was because to have really a Junkiebond as an addict organization with only addicts and maybe ex-addicts or ex-addicts, but not non-users.
Yeah.
The non-users should be organized in a apart organization. So then you get these requests to City Hall. You phone and you write, and other people phone this and that, and then finally it comes to a talk, right? And well, I mean, that's your experience then too, You think these people have a lot of power,
Yeah.
but they're also just in the machine,
Bureaucrat.
right? And they can only turn this way, and they can't turn it that way, right? And oh no, I have to tell. The first action we did was to write a black book on the methadone program. I showed you that.
Mm.
Now, in this book, about 35 addicts write down their experience about the methadone programs and the methadone treatment. And they were very much, they had a lot of critique on that. The way they were handled, the way they had to force withdrawal or reduce fast, or they couldn't get into the program because, you know, in that time, and we have really fought against that, there was a philosophy that we called the verloederingsfilosofie, which means it's as close to what Mark said about verelending, right?
Lukt.
Ja,
Begrijpt u verelenden?
je bedoelt verloederings...
Ja, verloederingsfilosofie hebben we dat genoemd toen.
Langzaam.
Yeah. Well, the philosophy was like, I don't know if it's still in America like that, but you know, it has to go bad with a junkie, and if it goes bad with a junkie, then it's okay because then he will ask for help. You know? That was the philosophy.
All the dogma's.
Exactly. So you had the whole system working like that. You had the police, they had to hound the addict, so he couldn't feel safe and secure. And he had to pay high prices. So the addict comes in problems. He maybe starts to steal, rip his mother, or start a company, whatever. And so that was important for us to break through that. The idea that a junkie first has to be down in the street or has to become a prostitute, and then he knows he did something wrong, and then he will accept our therapy.
It's punishment therapy.
It's punishment.
Punishment.
And but of course, the concept in society was even more than now, because now there is an atmosphere of, well, you know, people are thinking about it, and it's not that big anymore, the drug thing, because it has so much normalized.
So could you tell us about how you first heard about this procedure and how it comes that we're all sitting together here today and you're going through this ordeal, this initiation, this rite of passage, or this treatment for drug dependency? And all those things wrapped up together. How did it come about that we're here?
Well, I first heard of ibogaine from Charlie Kaplan. He's a professor at Erasmus University in Rotterdam, and I'm working with him in the drug field as a community field worker. And so, you know, you talk a lot about these things, and then he mentioned ibogaine. And well, he told me something about it. I was very interested, and then a few months ago I was looking on his desk, and I found your letter to him with the report of 9 cases who had done ibogaine. And well, it was very impressive, and so it was like, can't you get any of that stuff, or do you have to go to the States or something like that? Well, and then a few weeks later we have an appointment with you, which I didn't knew of, but was made by Charlie. And that's how I came in contact with you. Right?
Yeah. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the nature of what your problem is. You've been using drugs for a long time, you know. This is not just a casual thing that we're doing. We're participating in this treatment together so that we anticipate we will be able to overcome the drug problem that you seem to have developed. But maybe you could tell us about what that is and what you hope will come as a result of this next 24 hours that we're all going to spend together in this happy clinical clandestine clinic here in Rotterdam. Yeah. Yes.
We have een probleem gehad.
Ja.
Dan ben ik dan net af te komen.
Ja. Wat?
Wanneer zeg je dat toch? Als het goed is, heb ik geen probleem meer. Ja.
Okay, well, the reason why I want to do this ibogaine cure is because I have an opium addiction and heroin addiction in particular. I've used for, well, you know, everything that's around abuse. I've been shooting, I've been smoking, etc., etc. And, well, the last few years, you know, I always had an attitude of, so I'm using, so what, you know, so what. I have never seen myself as a user, you know, I'm a human being. I'm drinking coffee, and I don't introduce myself, hello, I'm a coffee drinker, or hey, I'm a smoker. Right? And, but that in a way has, in my head, has changed, right? Because I don't feel good anymore on those. And I know it's maybe sound familiar to other people who have the experience, but daar ben ik het weer kwijt. God.
Ga ik met de asbak gelijk.
Where was I? No, sorry,
Maar je
because
voelde je
it's.
niet meer goed bij het heroïne gebruik.
Oh yeah. So I wasn't feeling good anymore when I was using. You know, I also had to myself about that, the guilt complex, because I of course wanted to stop, but I never did. And
You're getting tired of it, is that it?
I'm tired of it.
Tired,
I'm really
yeah.
tired of it.
Yeah.
It's not the running because I hardly run. It's not the stealing because I didn't steal. It's not the ripping, I didn't rip.
Yeah.
It's the dope, I liked the dope, and I had good times with it, I had bad times with it, but I just don't like it anymore. And at the moment I'm not able, in this environment in my own town, I'm not managing to get off, right? On the other hand, if I now would go to another place too, to another city or something, I would stay clean too, you know. On methadone then only, then there would be a substitute of methadone. So yeah, well now I want to quit, and well, what I hope to achieve is just that. Hoping that I, you know, the next time I say no to myself, it stays no.
So basically you're looking for a permanent interruption of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, to interrupt it. And well, we'll have to see, you know. We'll be with you for the next 24 hours, and then we'll check on you every couple of weeks. We'll be in touch, or we'll try to follow it up. Our associates here in Holland will. It's very difficult because iCash is a very small organization, underfunded, and most of our members don't have telephones.
Was er alweer snoring?
Yeah.
Weer de telefoon.
Thank you. But we will make the effort to try to follow up and see how you're doing and so on. And right now it's been about 12 hours since you did heroin last.
Yes.
Is that right? So, are you at this time feeling any withdrawal symptoms? That, you know, normally you would say after 12 hours you would start to be feeling a little shitty, eh?
Yeah, we start to feel
A little shitty, eh? But it's not now bothering you. You seem very relaxed and comfortable.
I am.
Good. Yeah.
Now I see the first
Visions.
Low visions,
Visual.
you know.
Well,
Stripes.
Visual deformation.
so now it's 43 minutes after taking the first dose, first portion of the dose, and 13 minutes after
It's
taking
You just want to make
the
it
second.
up.
Yeah,
Visual
Yeah,
effects.
sure.
It starts to be a little confusing now. So if you don't want to ask me anything. Now it's, now I understand. Yeah.
let's get a,
Gaan we dat nu even doen?
Ja.
a view from the window of our eye-cast clinic.
We daar doen zien.
Nou, ik weet niet, ziet zij mij dadelijk nog?
There's a very unusual
Nou, ja, we hadden
car
afgesproken dat we dat niet zouden doen.
across the street.
Nou,
Dat zijn niet bij
You don't see cars like this in the United States.
Want ik voel het nu opkomen. Als je gaat bij een trip dan, kan ik daar gewoon niet tegen je zeggen. Of lul je oor dan goed.
Het kan, het is onbekend. Dat moet je maar zien.
hard vanaf. Nee, maar ik denk zelf dat het eigenlijk... Anders schrijf ik gewoon...
So we're resuming now. It's 10:30 in the morning on the 7th of May. And it's exactly 48 hours since the treatment began. And so basically the treatment's really over. You're going to go home in a very short while.
Yeah.
And your girlfriend's going to come and pick you up. And let me just set this up. Those are the notes, of course, of the whole treatment that you have there.
Okay, maybe. Hi. My name is Nico. Good morning.
Good morning.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd just like you to read a nice poem, which has something to do with my, ibogaine experience, the one I had. It's a poet, or a poem, from Genpo Zenzi. Shit, sorry, I start again. By Genpo Zenzi. It is a simple fact. Whether you resist, will persist. If you are resisting suffering, you suffer more. If you are trying to deny your confusion, you remain confused. If you are striving for peace, you find yourself constantly disturbed. If you are seeking after clarity, you are in a muddle. If you do not want to be angry, you are going to walk around angry. If you do not mind being angry, you will never be bothered by anger, because you will be constantly pushing it away, having no options for or against, just being open to whatever comes, you are free. Right?
Yeah.
And I tell you this because my first idea, like I told before to the camera, was, well, this nice way of getting away from it.
Heroin.
From heroin, and in a big trip and a big rethinking in some sort of psychological way. Well, first of all, I'm 48 hours awake now, so if I'm a bit drowsy, empty working, for me it was at the beginning of the administration of the ibogaine. The night before, it was Friday evening. I took my last shot at 10 o'clock, which was 0.15 grams of heroin.
So after the initial administration, did you what? Can you remember what you began to experience?
After?
Yeah, the initial administration, the first hour.
Well, the first hour it started really very, very quick. As soon as I had swallowed that one,
Yeah.
right? I think I said you gave me the other ones.
Half-hour intervals.
Oh, half an hour.
Half-an-hour intervals.
And I can remember pretty soon saying to you, "Hey, is it already working that fast?" Because I start seeing, strange shapes and echoes and that sort of thing. I feel very, sea legs or land legs. And so I went to the bed there behind the curtain, trying to meet my ancestors, right?
Yeah.
And so I sit down on the bed, lay down, very easy. The people that were around me were very easy, very encouraging, understanding, Because you know how it is, when somebody's lying there and I want something to fuck. And there you are, hold. Oh man, what an experience, ibogaine. No, it is. Then I think already after 5 to 10 minutes, the first visual effects appear. And also ear sounds like, synthesized voices or synthesized
Oscillation?
voices. Oscillating, yeah. So certain sounds then suddenly becomes a voice, right? And every form you see it gives another impression. Totally, it's really a very heavy trip.
Yeah.
Which starts, slow, and I think, but it's always with experiences of trips that you should not listen too much to other people about what there is to see, because it would otherwise be bad for your own imagination and work things out. At a certain moment, I lost all control of time already. And then it really banged into my brain. And it started in front of my eyes. I saw the outside of my eye.
Yeah.
And the on your eyes is also eye moisture. And you saw the eye the moisture like on a sheep. What's it?
A bubble.
A bubble.
Yeah.
They always see, all these things running over each other, becoming blue and yellow, according to how thick they are. Well, that was with this also so. Then there was on the walls that I saw indeed things that could remember me on the original tradition, as how I have read it, in the way the images I saw, like the woman in the tent, I think I saw, the priest I saw, Yeah, and that's hard to explain now, of course, because you know you don't know anything anymore. But I'm sure I'll also be introduced by Buiti.
You met the Buiti?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, further on, there were, you know, it was really like sitting on, you know, in your, of course, you know the new, or new is it not, but the game that they play in South America now, you know, skateboarding on the trains. Well, have you ever heard of that, the incident of the train, yeah, how do you say that, switcher? Huh? Oh, it's incredibly dangerous. But there's betting on it, you know, and the children like it. But of course, you know, you have these electricity things running by, hills and tunnels. So if you go off, you're ta-da!
Finished.
Yeah.
So during the course of the experience, you know, normally you would have been going through withdrawal symptoms. Did you experience any severe withdrawal symptoms, the kind that you normally experience with heroin withdrawal?
In the first hour?
No, well, during the whole experience. What were?
That's very different.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when the trip was still active.
Yeah.
And coming up, of course, I didn't have any withdrawal symptoms at all. Well, I must say, that's my personal feeling. I had a bad, well, in a way, a cold turkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
It isn't a cold turkey, but it is cold turkey. And you must understand that so. And that's why I read also the poem.
Yeah.
Which I had. In which you say, things like, if you are resisting suffering, you suffer more. And things like, if you do not mind being angry, you will never be bothered by anger, because you will not be constantly pushing it away. And so that was, in a way, that was happening with me too. Like, you know, the fantasy is to do the experiment is, well, they found something in Africa, and it's nature, and it's great, and people have had lots of experience with these stuffs through the ages that we now miss, and the doctors are not likely to give it back anymore to yourself. The only thing I can say is that during the first phase you will feel very good, very wonderful. Then there will come a long phase of which these effects will go strongly lesser and lesser.
Yeah.
And you will still think a lot about these things. And I don't know if everybody sees that much, but I can assure you that there is very, very much to see.
Yeah.
And then the period comes in which yeah, your stomach starts to protest, but not in the way as with cold turkey. Not that it's being scratched out.
Yeah.
Right. It's more the working of the ibogaine.
Yeah.
Because
Purification.
The purification. And nou, de verdere verschijningen die werden dus na verloop van tijd ja, alsmaar gewoon erger. So, you know, the effects, the withdrawal effects, developed over the time, more and more. What I missed was running nose. I hardly had running nose.
Yeah.
What I...
Diarrhea? Did you have any diarrhea?
No, I had
No diarrhea? What about intestinal contractions and cramps?
No, hardly. No.
And
Uh,
so it was very good blocker then, blocking withdrawal, you feel.
it's very much... It blocks some things, other things it is not blocking. Like, I was there 84 hours in the bed, right?
No, 48 hours.
Yeah, sorry.
It seems like 84 maybe, but it's only 2 days.
I think it is very important to look at this particular drug. That is how it works with me.
Yeah.
I had a good trip. It was beautiful, took me a long time. Took the withdrawal away long. Then the withdrawal, normal withdrawal starts. It's cold, warm, very cold, very warm. Sweat, everything, your bed is getting wet.
Yeah.
And wetter and wetter, and you turn around, and then one of the reasons is for what I take drugs is my pain in the back.
Yeah.
Which, the doctors told me that, okay, I have to do some exercise, which I do, but the rest, you have to live with it. And something, this pain which I have already for years. And so that's why.
Well, what about craving? Can we talk about that for a minute? Normally, after being away from heroin for a long time, you'd want to get up and go and get some heroin right away. And you don't seem to have any desire right now to want to do this.
No.
Is this correct?
I was laying in there, and then, it's the most unpleasant thing that was the long range of noising.
The long range of what?
Noising. Noising?
Oh, nausea.
Of nausea.
Yeah.
Huh? Because that makes you, you can do nothing. And then in that situation, you're also losing a lot. There's still a lot happening with your own body, which you have not totally in control yet. Your brains don't like to move. You have to turn around to your bed all the time. The people like to be nice to you, but you say, well, it's okay, leave me alone because I can't say anything. And so I think, we have done it now in 36 hours, you said?
No, 48 since, and it's 50, almost 60 hours since you did heroin last.
2 days?
Yeah, 2 days since we began the treatment, and then it's 2 days plus 12 hours since that's 48, 50, 60 hours since you did heroin. 2.5 complete days. And what you're saying really is you don't have a craving to go out and do heroin now. And, you feel that you'll be sufficient to stay away from heroin when you see it and when people use it in front of you?
I don't know. I don't know it yet.
Yeah,
but
well, we don't know. It's true.
Yeah,
till it happens. You haven't used tobacco, at all in this period, And so I noticed you're fiddling for the tobacco. Do you have, what are your feelings about cigarettes and smoking tobacco? Do you, it's very much part of Dutch culture, smoking tobacco, I know. Virtually everyone in Holland does it, and they roll their own like you do.
Hoi.
Ben je eruit gekomen met hem financieel?
Hoi. Nee.
Nou, jullie moeten voor 12 uur weggaan.
Ja?
Ja, tuurlijk. Voor 12 uur dan moet de kamer weer leeg opgelegd worden.
So we got 3/4 minutes, Roy.
Okay. Look at this. He's going to smoke a first cigarette in 2 days. We'll see how you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience with it?
About
Don't like it, huh?
25 or 30% of the people who take the treatment stop smoking cigarettes. I myself was one. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore now for 2
En
and a half.
Geert, she stopped smoking cigarettes.
Ja, Gert stop smoking
She only
cigarettes.
smokes joints.
Ja.
Ik vond een mooi gedicht van als ik zit schrijven. Heb ik net in de kamer voorgelezen. Ik heb toch veel aan de gehad.
How does the cigarette taste, eh?
Well,
I knew you wouldn't stop smoking. I just knew it.
I can tell you that it is not. No.
Doesn't taste good?
No.
No, you know, it is a poison, you know?
I know.
And if you...
No, I really, I had a real struggle, you know. After, if you're lying there alone and it is on a hot day and you're sweating and cold and you start shivering and suddenly the water is coming from out of your, it's really like if there, it's a sort of a water barrage,
Yeah.
that you're, in your head here you have the same thing as in a spike, yeah, right?
As in?
As in a spike, the plunger.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's somebody does. You know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really. The
he
water
had-
was really. So out my head. So.
Ja, maar dat is wel voor jouw gevoel.
Nou,
Dus ik heb die vaak genoeg bekeken. En het was echt niet echt.
dat was niet echt.
Ja, je lag wel te zweten. Maar niet dat het er zo eruit kon springen of zo.
Nou, serieus zien.
Ja, in je gevoel.
Ja, nou dat zei ik toch ook in mijn gevoel.
Nee, dan is het toch oké.
Ja, daarom.
Ik ga naar de bank.
And
See you in a minute.
so what was I saying?
About...
Can I take the keys? I don't have to ring.
Yeah, sure. About the smoking of the cigarettes, you know? You know, he hasn't smoked a cigarette in 2.5 days. No, so you shouldn't be too quick in your judgment.
En nothing else.
Yeah.
No, I was, really having a bad cold turkey.
Mm.
And, that you're really low, below, totally broken, you can only be, the only thing they can do with you still is pick you up and put you in a hospital or in a psychiatric hospital or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there you are in the corner, insure, guilt complexes, your addiction is crying. Why are you doing this? If you take one, it's gone. And so then you fight back, of course. My girlfriend came in, although we have seen that problem already, because we think that's also a problem for me in the relation.
Of course, we would like to speak to you again in a week, and in a month, and in 2 months, and in 3 months, but we won't be able to as a routine matter, because I'm not sure when I'll be back in Europe next. But I hope what you'll do is you'll write us a report. I hope that you'll be able to keep in touch with us. And, do you have any comments, anything you want to say about this means, about this way of detoxifying?
I would say, and if people are seeing this, maybe you are interested in the pictures, but that's hardly impossible to do in an environment like that. And we know the scenes already from the different films. The Man with the Golden Arm, and it's a very good film to see that with Frank Sinatra. What people like to do is to get as much as they can information about ibogaine, that the people are working with it keep on working on it, with it on a serious basis, so that it's really an open thing for everybody. I think it is a pretty strong hallucinogen.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. And so I can imagine that all the users who have experience in the 60s and 70s with LSDs and so on, will maybe easier adapt to it than maybe youngsters. Or maybe not, because of these new youngsters, they don't have a concept yet. Right? And it's not flower power and so on.
Would you like to see field workers going out and organizations like the Rotterdam Junkiebond or other addict organizations making this available for addicts?
Yes, I think that drug use is a part of humanity.
Yeah.
Throughout the history of mankind, over the whole globe, all continents, and every people, every nation has had and is still, and is also developing new, drugs or mind-altering states, how they call it. Of course, if you are in an aeroplane, if you're a flyer, you could say that's also an ACS, altered state of consciousness. And there are more examples there to give. They're not only coming from psychoactive
substances.
Yeah, agents. And so I think it is very important to what you have done now here, in my case, to write a very good report about how you recruited, who you met, what the problems are, this and that. What are you saying?
Well, I was going to say that if you had indeed gone cold turkey, I don't think it would be possible right now in 48 hours for you to be sitting here talking to me in the way you're talking to me.
Well, that's what I believe. It is, and every user knows that with experience. Sometimes it's terrible, and sometimes it's less terrible. It has to do with your physical condition, quality of the dope you've used lately, etc., etc., etc. And so it's hard to say how it will be. But I think it's important to say that to people like that. And I cannot say that you didn't do that, because you all the time said, man, this is an ordeal. Right?
Yeah.
But my problem was always that going in you go in the ordeal and then you don't make it. And then you have this all new frustrations and blah, 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 blah. And I had that yesterday too down there.
Yeah.
I was on the moment and said, when she comes, then. And there comes the poem again, If you are resisting suffering, you suffer more. If you are trying to deny your confusion, you will remain confused. If you're seeking after clarity, you are in a muddle. Well, that's the way it is, The ibogaine let me stay in the bed, stay in the room.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out. I couldn't come to go out. And so then it's very important, so that as you do it yourself, don't invite friends then that can bring you stuff.
Drugs.
Yeah. If you really want to do it, that must always be your own choice. And I think also that it is very important to have some sort of psychological or psychiatric, testing
Yeah.
and observing.
Observation. Yeah. We agree also. We just can't seem to get the people yet to come around to us.
Because it's very, very important, I think.
Well, so we come to the end of another iCash treatment. Another iCash treatment episode in Holland. And it's been a very interesting 2 weeks. And I look forward to the information that we will receive from our friend Nico and in the coming weeks about his use of drugs or his lack of use of drugs. And I'll look forward to coming back to Holland and working with him and Herta and Chris and our growing iCash organization. Bye-bye.